Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our brother Corey Muhammad out of North Carolina. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
This is an extreme honor that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come give us some information as well as inspiration. And on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we want to thank you again, sir. And we want to get right on into it.
Thank you for having me, brother. Honored to be on.
Yes, sir. And the first question that we have for you, sir, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, brother, in truth, my grandmother was in the Nation of Islam prior to 75, and my father. Now, I didn't grow up in the mosque, but I grew up because my grandmother passed away before I was even 1 year old, and my father and mother separated when I was 6 years old. But my mother had learned a lot about the teachings from my father. Now, she never became a registered member, but she learned a lot. So I heard about the teachings here and there growing up. You know, I would hear about the mother playing, plus we had some of the albums, like the Judgment from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, we used to, when I came in, we had audio tapes and all of it. They had the albums then, and even had a couple of MUI first grade readers and some other things that we grew up kind of looking at and seeing, and grew up on Sundays, never grew up going to church, but grew up circling around what they called a hi-fi back then, a big stereo system. We listened to Imam Warthuddin. That was our Sunday morning service. And this was like the late 70s. So I first heard of the teachings in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, although I didn't really understand it as much, but I really first heard it through my mother.
Praise be to Allah. That's amazing. Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And seeing the, like I said, seeing the albums, and I even remember now as a young child, I was only maybe 6 or 7, but I remember seeing the album and hear my mom play White Man's Heaven as a black man held a little 45 RPM little record there, and so remember seeing the albums and would see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as a young child, really, I was thinking, just to be honest about it, I said, that man looks kind of different. He looked kind of strange, you know, with the little affairs on, little hat on, but I didn't know at 7, 8 years old.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Okay. All right, great. And my next question for you, sir, is this was all in North Carolina?
Yes, sir. I am a native Charlottean. Charlotte is a fast-growing city. So many people coming from so many different areas. One of the top busiest airports in the country. But I am one of the native Charlotteans. All my 51 years, going to be 52 this year, has been right here in Charlotte.
All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. That's beautiful to hear. Okay. Well, once you got of age and you were ready to make a decision on where to go in life, what was it about the teachings that made you want to accept it?
When I was in my early teenage years, my mother would look at the minister. Like I said, she never joined the mosque or anything, but the minister would come on cable TV in Charlotte. And this had to be maybe around 84, 83, 84. And in between my going outside or doing my little paper route or whatever, I hear her listening to the Minister Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but I didn't know who he was, but I just remember that. And that's a part of that because I was only, like I said, maybe 14 at the time then. But it wasn't until I was out, maybe 18 years old, and I was in Charlotte and I received a flyer because I would buy the paper, the final call. I would see brothers on the corner here and there. And like I said, I had a little bit of knowledge. And so I'd buy papers before I ever came to the mosque. And one particular time, some brothers gave me a flyer. And the flyer was promoting Dr. Alim coming to Charlotte to speak at one of the places here. And it was during the time of the dope busters. And that's how I ended up. Going out at that time, I went out with my girlfriend, who later became my children's mother. And when they separated us, we went inside there. She went on one side, I went on the other side. I thought that was a little bit different and strange, but I heard Dr. Alim talk. That was the first Nation of Islam meeting that I went to. And then after that, I ended up finding out more about the local mosque here. And I ended up going out to hear the teachings there from someone you had on earlier, my first minister, student minister in the nation, Brother Minister Lee Muhammad.
Okay, okay, man, this is synchronicity. Okay, great. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. All right. So once you accepted the teachings, because your mother felt so good about it and you were familiar, but how did your other family members and friends feel? Was everybody warm to you?
Yes, sir. Well, if they didn't agree, no one said anything. And I was closer to my mother than I was to everyone else. But, you know, I had aunts and no one said anything. No one gave us any trouble or gave me any trouble. So I never ran across, unfortunately, what some do when they decide to embrace the teachings.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Praise
Yes,
be
sir.
to Allah. Yes, sir.
And what was it like for you the first time? Now you're hearing the minister on, you said the cassette tapes. See that, hear Dr. Alim, you hear Minister Lee. Then what was it like for you the first time you saw the Most High Minister Louis Farrakhan? What was that like?
Well, first, brother, after listening to all those tapes, I mean, I was hooked in a good way because, again, it touched something. Just hearing the teachings, and a lot of brothers like myself maybe didn't grow up with a father figure necessarily in the home, but the minister became a father figure to us from the tapes, from the VHS cassettes and all of that. And so when I very first time I saw the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in terms of actually meeting him, it wasn't until 1990 doing the added up message that was in Georgia, that was in Atlanta. And it just so happens I went with some of the brothers that we went for security. And one of the brothers on the final call media team needed to get some brothers to help with cables or help whatever he needed to help with. And he happened to be me and another brother. And before you know it, not only did we help, but we ended up, before I even knew what was going on, we ended up in the hotel room where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was. We were introduced to him. That was in 1990. That would have been April of 1990 doing the added up message. And then the minister came to Charlotte in June of 1990. He came to speak in Charlotte then. And again, I ended up, along with another brother, we ended up being on hotel security in the hotel room while the minister and the security team went to go speak. We wore security to stay back in the room. So I had the opportunity to meet him at that occasion. So I met him like twice within 2 months after hearing all these audio tapes and all of that. So, you know, I was just, oh, hi after that, brother. That was early 1990.
Oh, praise is due to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Well, seeing as how you have been a believer for so long, what advice would you give to the future generations coming behind you as a way to keep, 10 toes down and keep our faith? What advice would you give?
Brother, what our environment influences us so much. What we take in influences us. That word information, what we take in is going to form us. And then that Asian is going, the ATION is going to move us into action. And so the advice I would give is, with all the distractions we have today, what we did a lot then and what I did a lot then, I mean, I had so many audio tapes, just as many other believers do. I got boxes of audio tapes now and the VHS tapes, but we listened to the minister a lot. I listened to the minister a lot. And that's the advice that I would give the newer believers that are coming in too. On top of whatever else we may be listening to, let's make sure we're listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, not just as much, but degrees even more. Because if we're listening, then that's putting it in our mindset and to keep us close to the fire when we've got that kind of information circulating continuously in our ears.
So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. And thanks to everyone who was watching all over the country. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube. So please let us know what city you are watching from on YouTube as well. Being in the South, being and traveling with the Most High Minister Farrakhan, and has there ever been a time when you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Well, then coming in 1990, it was during the time of Stop the Killing tours. And so I came in, I was working a job, I had children, was a young father. I got married at 19, first time around 19, my wife was 16, and she wasn't in the mosque, she didn't accept the teachings. And so we did a lot of traveling, just going to all the different cities, probably within a 6-7 hour radius. Whenever the minister was in this area, the Mid-Atlantic region, or even down the Southern region, we go and secure as much as we possibly could. And so I just fully immersed myself in it. But if I think about any time that there may be any fear, I would say, I don't know if I would just say necessarily fear, but there was one time when we were getting some gas at one of those stops. I think it was on the way to Richmond, Virginia. I just can't remember all the way what it was. And I'm the newest and the youngest brother that's in the car. And there was some Caucasians at the gas station. And again, I think we may have been on the racist part. I don't know what jumped off, but I just know we had two of the brothers, before you know it, one of them ended up, well, they just got into an altercation, I'll put it that way. So I wasn't really never scared. They didn't need any help. They handled everything. Two of them pretty much handled everything on their own. But I just realized that, of course, everybody don't like seeing what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is doing to Black men, Black women, and anyone else that's listening. So I'm just trying to think back. If I think about it, I'm sure there may have been some times when some things may have come up. But in terms of something that just happened, it just gave me fear. Before we finish, I might have something that pop in I can think of, but off the top of my head, I can't think it. Not trying to make it sound like I don't have any fear at all, but we all experience some, but I just can't think of anything that's coming to mind right now.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And both of my sisters send the greetings. Sister Miriam Answer's name is send the greetings to you.
Praise be to Allah. Please return them. Your family has done and continues to do so much, and we're so thankful for all that you do, brother, too. All that you are reaching and continue to reach.
Man, it's an honor, and thank you, sir. My next question for you is, what was it like, the climate like in North Carolina leading up to the Million Man March, and how did the Million Man March personally impact you?
Oh, brother, the climate here, I go back and I look on a national level, the LOCs were started, the local organizing committees. And so right here in Charlotte, again, at that time, I've been blessed in the little bit of time that I've been in our nation. I've been blessed to work as a lieutenant, and been blessed at one time to help and assist who was our secretary at the time. And, you know, on top of that, been the student assistant minister for 4 different administrations that we had here in the Charlotte area. So to answer your question about what was it like, the brothers that were having and sisters that had the LOC rolling, what I remember of it, because I didn't go to a lot of LOC meetings then, I was just working, doing the work that we did, but I do know this, we had over some 14 buses, if I'm not mistaken, that left from the Charlotte area. So the excitement was there. I was a bus captain heading out to the Million Man March. So there was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. It was a great feeling. Now, was there some hiccups here and there? Yes, some hiccups here and there. But overall, I just remember the excitement from it because I was so involved in, you know, the work and what we were doing. And the way it impacted me, I told you, mentioned earlier that my father and mother split up when I was 6, maybe 7 years old. And quite frankly, I didn't get a chance to see my father again until I was about 15 or 16 years old. Well, I talked to him on the phone here and there. And when he shared with me that, you know, his whole desire was to make it to the Million Man March and for us to be able to connect up. Now, we didn't actually end up getting to connect up that day, but he did ended up making it. And so it impacted me not only in that way, but it impacted me seeing all those brothers, you know, standing and just seeing a sea of men and getting there. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 that morning. And I just happened to been blessed to be one of the ones that was on the, not the steps, but it's not really front. It wasn't front post roster. That's not the right way to say it, but there was a lot of brothers that were standing up. And I remember standing up, brother, and I was held that post for about 12 to 13 hours. I ain't want no relief. I just felt excited to be there. Just the environment, the electricity, the energy, especially when the minister came in, all those people saying, you know, all other speakers, but people were waiting for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to come up. So how it impacted me, just on top of everything I'd already been hearing and seeing, just made me more amazed, more in awe, more in love with the teachings, and more in love with our minister.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir.
At that time, I'm only 25 years old, by the way. I was 25 years old when I was at the Million Man March.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. But Brother Corey, I'm going to ask you a question I ask a lot of people who love the spirit of the Million Man March. And it seems as like my sister's name says, all praises to Allah. Everybody's like, we'll never get that again. You just had to be there. Do you think there's something that can be redone for people like myself who wasn't able to go, or people, you know, it was before our time? Like, what is it something that you think we'll ever see again? Or is that like a once in a lifetime event?
I don't think Allah ever does anything that's, because since it's Allah's behind it, something that can just never necessarily be duplicated again. I'm trying to remember how the minister worded that, because the Million Man March in 1995 was the Million Man March in 1995. Different things that led to the environment, all the movies that were coming out, and the minister doing all of Let Us Make Man tours that helped lead up into that. So my personal opinion, I don't know if necessarily that need to be duplicated again, but the energy from it, the excitement from it, can that be done again? I believe so. Yes, absolutely. I believe it absolutely can. but it don't have to be done exactly like that. If we don't evolve, if we don't do something and grow and everything gets better than whatever was before that, depending on how we determine the success of it, then, you know, if it's just a one-time thing and never be duplicated, I don't believe a law works like that, me personally.
That's the type of answer I like to hear. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Brother Corey, in your life, what has been your greatest trial, and how have you been able to overcome that trial?
You know, brother, if you answer that, one of the greatest trials, and I know this is going out, and see, when I married at 19 years old and 16 years old, before coming into the mosque, man, the mother of my children, who, you know, whom I later married, I mean, we spent a lot of time together, even though we were young, and so we were that little young couple in love and all of that. But once I accepted the teaching, you know, the teaching really drew me in, and I just was so inspired and just wanted to be around the teachings a lot. And so we kind of, in many ways, begin to drift apart. And for those that's looking, it doesn't have to happen that way, but you asked the question. So as I look back at it, and I look back and reflect on ending up us and our drifting apart, it was necessary because everything has a reason for what happens. But as I look back, that was one of the things that I regretted, that maybe I didn't handle, you know, being attentive in some ways a little bit better, maybe not handling at that time, being a young husband and a young father. Now, I always provided, always worked, did all of that. But I used to beat myself up after that relationship ended, that, man, maybe I just didn't be a better husband. So that would have been one of the things I would have regretted back then. But in wisdom, as we look back and reflect, everything led up and happened just the way it was supposed to. Beautiful. But that would have been an early regret. Since you asked for one, that would have been an earlier regret. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, what has been your greatest joy in life, sir?
Oh, brother, so many. You know, I look back now, my wife and I will already celebrate 5 years together. You know, my wife's Sister Angel, who's originally out of the Akron Mosque. We're Mosque 36 in Charlotte. She's out of Mosque 37, and she used to serve there as a student MGT sister in charge. But as I started looking back and reflecting, that's one of the greatest joys. Both of us have children, you know, and both of us have grandchildren, to see grandchildren. There's something about grandchildren, you know, that's something else, just another joy. That sounds funny saying that, man, but I love the grands. We have 4 grandchildren there. And, you know, another great joy, brother, is my daughter, who is 32 years old. She got married about 4 or 5 months. Wait a minute, that was maybe 7, 8 months before we did. Or maybe after. Anyway, it was close to the same time that we got married. But one of my greatest joys was being able to walk my daughter down the aisle, you know, and give her to her husband. And at the same time, being able to, she came to me and said, "Hey, Daddy, this is this, and it's going to cost this, that, and the other." And another joy was just being able to pay for it, no credit card, no debt, and nothing like that, and just take care of the kind of wedding that she wanted. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. That's right, Father. Go ahead. Yes, sir. McCoy. Okay, wonderful. Well, let's get right into that then. What advice would you give to future fathers?
You know, the minister says something to us about father and further. You know, that our objective, our goal should be, as we are fathering our seed, fathering our children, the whole goal should be to want to see them move further in life. And so taking the time, you know, not only, and we talk about maintainer and provider, there's someone here in our neighborhood, and this brother is always in his yard. I mean, this every day, this brother is working in his yard. I mean, every day. And I used to look at it, I'd be like, man, this black man is always working in his yard. And he's really nice. My wife and I go for walks sometime, we see him. But that brother, literally, he'd be in that yard all the time. Pardon my slang a little bit there. But I looked at them and I said, you know what? He's maintaining that. I mean, he's a maintaining that. He's making sure the weeds, he's doing all that, he's doing what he can. So one of the advice to fathers, once we enter into that fatherhood, is taking it serious and get as much wisdom as we can, or as much knowledge as we can from the minister and from any others that, you know, uncles or anyone that can share with us what needs to be shared with us in a righteous way, and take that knowledge that we get and then start applying it and watch what'll happen, the wisdom that will come from applying good knowledge when it comes to parenting our children and striving to be a good father.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
My sister say all praises due to Allah as well. Well, what about advice for future husbands, Brother Corey?
Well, I could be listening to that myself. If you notice, I said, I said coming up. But no, really, it's good. Everything we do, we read and we study. And so if we read and we study, I remember reading that there's nothing wrong with looking at sometimes relationship books, nothing wrong with making sure not to always seek to be understood, but to strive to understand. You know, as men, even when I'm doing counseling sometimes now with some of the couples, I always see a lot of times that brothers don't listen, or, you know, maybe not showing their feelings. And all of us are made a little differently, but I would just share some of the advice I would give is just remember, it's not a 50-50. People say a 50-50. No, it's 100%. It's a real commitment. We should know that going in. If it's a future husband and we're looking at this and we're registered members of the Nation of Islam, take the courtship process serious, ask the questions that need to be asked and all of that. And if anyone is, those that are looking at this is not registered members of the Nation of Islam, just know it's a serious thing, and it's something we want to seek counsel in and get help from, because it's more than just the pleasure that come with it. There's a lot more that comes with marriage than that. And just knowing, as the minister has taught us, it's two. When you have the wedding, if someone say, well, we got married, no, we're not married yet. We just went and had a service done in front of witnesses, but we've entered into a process that's allowing us to strive to become one. So the whole thing is just from the outcome, understanding what marriage is really supposed to be about. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All praises due to
Allah. And I give myself that own advice now, because I can say I'm striving to get better, learn a little more, learn to listen a little more, and all of that that can help, form a strong relationship.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Well, Brother Corey, I had a question. Speaking of how men are, many of us are built different. What do you say to those who aren't type of men who aren't sensitive and emotional? How can we be better at explaining our feelings to the sisters?
Well, I would at one time put myself in that category. Like I said, I'm still working on it. But anything we set our minds that we want to do, and sometimes people think sensitive means soft. Sensitive and soft, it doesn't have to be, a synonym with each other. They don't have to be the same. There's nothing wrong with when you trust someone and when you love someone and you want a deeper relationship, then there's certain things that's required to bring about that deeper relationship, certain things required to bring about that trust. So first of all, recognizing is that if I'm having a challenge or being sensitive, sometimes we got to go do a little work within ourselves. This is why I'm glad that we have the tool that's been given to us, whether we use it or not, even auditing. Sometimes I go back and look and find out there's certain barriers that's in the way that prevent us from being able to be more expressive, being able to, with someone we trust, someone that has our heart, and we have their heart, so to speak. So it's a work in progress. But most times, most of the sisters know that when they choosing someone, they know if they got someone that's not as sensitive and a good woman, they'll go to work to try to help that situation. But then at some point, the brother got to be realizing, and little by little, sometimes we had these walls up, but little by little through practice, then each brick come out from the wall, and each brick come out before you know it, the wall is nowhere near as high as it was. It may still be that little bit, but it's getting shorter and shorter. So for those that may have a challenge expressing their feelings, realize that if you trust the person, love the person, it's going to better the relationship.
Beautiful. Excellent job, Corey. Excellent.
Praise be to Allah.
Brother Jimmy says, Assalamu alaikum, family. Dear in a while, praise to Allah for them in a while. It's not, Brother Jimmy. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Corey, we have a few more questions for you, but we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. This month, I want to thank everyone. If you all would like to be a sponsor and or donor, please cash app the People's Podcast. We greatly appreciate every our Facebook family, our Twitter family, our YouTube family, our Instagram family, people all over the country. Thank you. Please cash app the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book, coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon. Please get her books. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Raw Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Raw Communications. Fashion Guys, Urban Streetwear, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dressed in the best of fashion, dripping in high-end clothes. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad, conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region and all over the country. He does a phenomenal job. His wife is the Fudia Muhammad, children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire, who'll ship you bow ties anywhere in the nation. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Right back to our brother Corey Muhammad out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Boom. Okay, yes, sir. Speaking of books, brother Corey, will you ever write a book on your personal life?
Brother, it's been one up in my mind for a moment now, and I keep saying I want to do it. But the procrastination had kicked in a little bit, but my objective is to put something on paper, something hopefully to be worthy of people to read and draw something from.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, brother Corey, what do you like to do for fun, sir?
Well, brother, I like to travel. Definitely like travel, seeing things, and a lot of times we read the teachings, and it's one thing when we read something, another thing we go experience and get a chance to see it. So I do like traveling. I do like reading. I haven't been in a while, but even like fishing. Now the fishing we do out there trying to share the teachings and help people hear about it. I love that fishing, but actually literal physical fishing hadn't been and don't go as much, but it's something that soothes my mind, that can be soothing us. So I enjoy that. Also just enjoy being in places where you can elevate, being around people that are positive and looking to get better and better themselves. I'm a student, a constant student, so I always like to learn. So these are some of the things that I like to do.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, brother Corey, we speaking of going fishing, is there a difference between fishing on a boat as far as peace versus fishing like in a lake or like on a on a little pier or something? Do you have to get in the boat to get the full enjoyment, or can I just be on the side? Like what's more peaceful?
I've been on the side more than I've been on the boat, and both of them work. So I've done it both ways. I haven't done the deep sea yet,
yes, sir.
But I've done it in both ways.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And brother Corey, if you could choose one album to say is your favorite album of all time, what album would you choose?
Oh man, favorite album?
Yes, sir.
We talking about music, I'm assuming, right?
Correct.
Wow. The first thing that hit my mind when you said that was Michael's album Thriller. I mean, that came to mind. But at the same time, be quite honest, Prince's album came to mind too, Purple Rain. So I don't know, those are running kind of close right there. Those
yes,
are
sir.
Running close. And
those are both two favorites from a lot of the guests. A lot of people gonna say Thriller, a lot of people gonna say Purple Rain. Those are two classic albums for sure. Two more questions for you, brother Corey, and thank everyone who is showing you love all across the country. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube as well, sir. My next question for you is, what would you like your legacy to be, sir?
I like my legacy to be tied to being known to be a helper of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and a helper to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and really a legacy of not just saying, but a legacy of work. As a student minister here in the area that we're in Charlotte, one of the things that I would like to have before, if someone else is asked to do it, if I'm no longer in a position, is to, have our school here and, have restaurants, and I'm talking about from those standpoint. But the real legacy would just be that people would know and be able to see that this was just one more amongst all the helpers and the stars that Allah is putting into place. I just want to be known as one of those stars, one of those brothers, one of those believers that was sincere in the work and sincere in helping our minister. That would be one of the main things from a legacy. The other legacy I would just share, now that's there, but also would be a legacy of making sure that my children and all those that I touched would be able to know that through all the hard work that we did, and all the sacrifice that we did, it was for a reason. It was to bring about a change in this world that we see right now. So really a legacy would be a change agent, someone that was positive, someone that was a hard worker and stayed true to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yes, sir.
Excellent job. Well, Brother Minister, I want one last question for you. Prior to 75, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the the earlier believers and followers had to experience a extreme trial with the first round, first examination. Now it's going to be our turn with the Most High Little Spark and the pardon. What advice the ministerial role? What advice would you give to the believers in keeping our faith when that trial comes?
Well, being that I'm coming prior to 75, and there's believers that will look at this, and I can only go on what they say. They say that really there was no warning, or so to speak, when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad left to continue his mission, when he departed. And so if we look at and we reflect back, dear believers, our minister by Allah's mission has been preparing us. He's been putting things in place to make sure that we're able to make it during the time that he's gone. We know that recent interview wherein the executive council was publicly introduced for the first time. And we've heard, I'm not even sure how many saviors there are, how many messages, how strong is the foundation, can you survive?
Yes, sir.
And so in this instance, we've had the opportunity to be prepared, to be prepared, to be prepared. Now, the only challenge sometimes is that in the back of our minds, we can wonder, is he really gonna leave? Or I'm just saying something, wonder, is it anything? See, when it actually happens, one thing to prepare, but it's another thing to see how we'll respond. For those that say, well, I know I'm gonna do this, well, I know I'm gonna do that. I just pray along that when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan returns, that as many that I was able to touch as possible, not only myself, but any others I was able to touch, that we stayed true to what he taught and continue to make it through the hard times this ahead. But if we go back and reflect, Swan Song, go back and reflect all the guidance, he's been preparing us. We just got to make sure we understanding what we're looking at and not seeing entertainment, but looking at preparation for what's to come. And we already know the script. The script has been written. The movie has been done. Like a lot of people talking about latest movies that's out. Every movie that come out, the script is already done. I didn't see, I like the Marvel movies, I'm into those, but I haven't seen the latest one yet, so I got to go check that one out. But all the movies, they always have a script that's done well. The quote unquote biggest movie, if we want to give it in that metaphorical language, because one of the Savior's Days was entitled "The Gods Are at War."
That's right.
The beautiful thing about this one, though, the script already laid out. We already know who the winner is. We already know who the victor is and everything. So we just got to make sure we do our part, that we can take part in the victory celebration, so to speak. And that's what be the advice that I would give. Stay close, brothers and sisters. Let's stay close to the guidance, stay close to the minister and everything that the minister has put in place, and be ready to gird up our loins, so to speak, for what trials come ahead. And we don't know how we respond when they come, but we can pray to Allah for strength and pray to Allah to be able to make it through whatever's coming ahead.
Beautiful. Oh, praise be to Allah.
Yes,
excellent
sir.
teacher.
Praise be to Allah, brother. Thank you. And I just want to say to our brothers and sisters that are looking at this, I've been in Charlotte now. It's coming up almost, as I was sharing, coming up on, it's going to be close to 10 years now serving as a student minister in this particular role. But prior to that, just again, as a student assistant and just helper. And all our titles we have, I remember something that our brother who's mayor in Benton Harbor, I'm not sure if he's still a mayor or not, he's also in the ministry class. And doing the openings on one of the Sunday messages from Mosque Mariam, and he said that he was consulting with the minister about it when he was nominated as mayor. And he said the minister gave him advice. And this was during the pandemic when I was looking at the Sunday messages. The minister gave him the advice. He said, first, be a good Muslim. And I was like, look at that. And so he told him to be a good Muslim. And then after that is when he told him, the whole mayor thing, but first be a good Muslim. And so I just will share with us, whatever we do, all that we do, whatever titles we all have, just make sure we have the title of Muslim in there first. We do that, everything else gonna work out.
Go ahead, teach, bro. Go ahead, teach. My sister Miriam says teach.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did mess up. He said be a good Muslim first, minister second, then mayor. That's what the order was. Muslim, minister, then mayor. All right, but the foundation was be a good Muslim. And whatever roles we have, just be a good Muslim.
All praise is due to Allah. Excellent teaching, excellent advice, bro, minister. And for those who may be in the area of Charlotte and that surrounding area, can they reach out to you on social media? Can they, if people want to, who are watching, want to, come hear the word and get in contact with you? Is that possible?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I got to step my Instagram game up a little bit, but I am on the gram and under Salat_5. Again, Salat like prayer, Salat_5. But I'm on Facebook a lot more. Corey B. Muhammad. B is in B, I guess. What B would be? I was going to say my slave name, but just B as in box. Okay. All right. So Corey B. Muhammad. I'm right there on Facebook. Probably easy to catch me that on Instagram. I might miss some messages there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, bro, so one more question. Seeing as how you're a fan of the amazing MCU, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. If you choose like a favorite character, who would you choose?
Oh man, looking back on all, if I had to choose one out of all, well, you know what? I ain't gonna say it because it just sounds good. But I like Black Panther. You know, I gotta say, I like Black Panther. There, yeah. So we're gonna roll with that answer right there, Black Panther.
Yes, sir. Wakanda forever. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Good
sir.
job, Minister. Praise be to Allah. I want to thank you for your sacrifice. Thank your family for their sacrifice as well on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. May Allah continue to bless you all to keep winning and establishing Islam here in North America. And Brother Corey, if you, I look forward to meeting you in person so we can break bread and have a conversation in person, inshallah.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, brothers and sisters, and all our guests. If you haven't yet, get the latest edition of The Final Call, more than a newspaper. I get the local newspaper here for my city, but Final Call ain't that. It's much more than that. Get your edition today. Thank you, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum. There we go.